Junior's back.
She's an amateur. Nobody has caused the amount of destruction Junior has.
The salad is infested.
Hey, P-Brain, what are you doing here?
Welcome to The Good, the Bad, and the Sequel. This is the movie podcast where we're talking sequels, and we do it in two parts. The first with an interview with an actor or someone involved that made the film worth watching, and the second a discussion of the sequel, what they got right, what they got wrong, and how it could have been better. Really hope you enjoyed last week's interview. Man, 2 times in a row, we're talking to the main, number one on the call sheet, director Brian Levant. The guy really directed every seminal movie of my childhood, Beethoven, Jingle All the Way, this week's sequel, Problem Child 2, Flintstones. He worked on Happy Days, so much more. Don't forget to check out his book, My Life and Toys. You can find it on our website, sequelsonly.com, or just look for it on Amazon. Great chat. And wow, I am so excited to talk about this movie because I feel like this is like our sweet spot of era of movies. This is like Mannequin 2 years-ish. Yeah, before I mention anything about Junior and Ben Healy and the town that is full of divorcees, I got to introduce you to my partner in the sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how are you, man?
I'm okay, Doug. How are you doing?
I'm good. It was, I honestly, like, these are the type of movies. There's like this formula. Maybe it's the soundtrack. Maybe it's the people that are in it, like these familiar character actors, like not all character actors, but you got John Ritter, Jack Warden, Lorraine Newman from the first cast of SNL. You have Amy Yasbeck, which I don't know how she's in this one. If you remember, she's in the first one as the bitch wife. But I think Brian, because he kind of alluded to that in the interview, that's how he kind of got everything to work, because he got Amy back. Which
I also didn't know that she was married to John Ritter.
Yeah, they got married, I think, after all this. I don't think they were even together at this point. No,
because she was with him when he passed away. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know when they got together. But, yes, so you're making some faces.
Well, okay. So, and I always have questions. My question here is, who's the audience for this movie? Because it's obviously too silly for an adult. Like, if, they're not going to promote it as an adult movie. However, this being a kid's movie, this might be the grossest movie I have ever seen. And that's saying a lot. And the innuendos and the things that go on in this movie, this is not a kid's movie. It's not a kid's movie.
Well, this isn't a kid's movie by today's standard, but this is a kid's 80s, 90s movie that we're going to throw in so many jokes that are for your parents that they're going to be involved as well and want to watch it with you. That's how they got. I don't. But
you know what? I don't think this is a kids movie. Like this is a teen movie, like a teenager movie, but it's geared towards young kids because the two main stars are like 8. So but the jokes are like so inappropriate and seriously a disgusting movie. I mean, like this takes like. Like I always thought that the throw up scene in Stand By Me was, the top. Like, like you think it's like throw up scenes. That's always like one that everybody talks about. This one blows out. That one's like dry heaving compared to what happens in this movie. And I have to be honest, I'm not sure if I ever saw this. I thought I did. I didn't remember any of this. So this was a first viewing, I think, for me.
Fun. Now that throw up scene, which we'll get way into it, but I love scenes like that because you think it's going to end and then it just keeps going and go. It was like the Energizer Bunny.
It was gross. And again, there's at least 5 gross scenes, and not to mention, this kid should be in jail. He literally almost murdered, and I want to say murder because I know this is slapsticky, but the things he does in this movie, first of all, he might be the smartest person on this planet. The things, he's 8 years old. Clearly, he doesn't go to school at all. And he could do MacGyver stuff better than MacGyver. But the things he does, if this was like a real life, he would have murdered at least 6 people.
Oh, dude. Oh my God. Yeah. No,
so, I mean,
he never really gets in trouble. There's like a newspaper article that we see when they're flipping through, when Lorraine Newman, LaWanda, when she's flipping through the newspaper articles about Ben Healy and the whole family and Junior, and it says like Junior goes on what was it, a crime spree with convicted killer, because he went with the bow tie killer at the end of the movie, I guess.
But so he doesn't have a name, like they just call him Junior.
He's just Junior. I don't even know if he had a name in the first one before. I don't know. Okay,
and I don't remember the first one. So, do they get a divorce in the end of the first movie?
So, they don't really show that. She like wanted a kid just to be able to go to the neighborhood parties. Like she didn't like that she wasn't invited to like birthday parties and stuff. So that was her reasoning behind wanting a kid, and she wasn't able to have one. So they adopted.
Okay. And then but at the end of the movie though, are they still together like as a family? Like
I think they are, and then they probably like, hey, well, let's just do a whole new angle on the next movie. Let's move to Mortville. Let's go from Cold River to Mortville.
Okay. And if I remember correctly, John, first of all, love John Ritter. And some of the things he does in this movie, like when he's falling and he does I love it. Like it just reminds me of Three's Company, and, so good. I mean, and he died so young. So but I'm assuming in the first movie, if I remember, like he was like a nice, like kind of like just like like a nice dad, laid back. In this movie, he's kind of like he's I don't know how long he's divorced, because Junior looks the same age in this movie that was in the first movie, but goes on how many dates? He looks like he's trying to get laid the entire movie. He's the whole movie. And
he hit a gold mine. He hit a town, like his sleazy neighbor said, that it's 50-1 ratio.
Well, okay, and let's be honest. I mean, the women that were lined up.
Oh no! Well, no, I have notes about like a few of their dresses. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say out of a 10, they were like averaging like 5. It might sound great for a divorced dad to go to a town with divorced women, but that would be like a nightmare. Like you're newly divorced and you're ready to start dating again, and you go to a town that has all divorced women, but they're all like 5s and under.
Oh man, that seems so funny. But no, so let's get into it. Before we get into it, I gotta make this quick announcement. I've mentioned in the interviews, you heard him before, I helped actor Larry Hankin put together his memoirs. It's called That Guy. It's you can buy it on Amazon. It will be in bookstores in the next month or so, but it'll be on our website, sequelsonly.com. And some great stories in there. Some of the ones I sort of alluded to when I interviewed people, because he was like my inside stories. Like I vicariously through Larry, I was able to use some of these like tidbits that I've heard from over the years. And actors loved Larry, so they opened up after I mentioned that I helped them with the book. So love you, Larry, and check out the book. But
what? That's a great title, because he really is that guy. He's in so many things, and everybody goes, that's the guy, like that guy. Like and he's really, that's such a great title. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. And he looks the same still from all those years ago. He looks just older. That's really it. But so this movie is cool because I know we mentioned some of the stuff already, but we had like the Universal. You had like the cool like Universal, like the nostalgia of that. Not like saying Universal doesn't make movies, but just that era of movies. And dude, I gotta ask you a question. So I do have the opening song. We're not gonna listen to a lot of it, but it sounds like a very similar it's all right, you listen. Sounds good, right? You like that song?
Who is it?
I don't know who it is, but it sounds eerily similar to my favorite song of all time.
Is this Doug?
Not the same. Yeah, Doug in the Pontiac, but just the voice. I guess that's like
it's
the
80s.
Angle that they want. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, so late. Yeah, it's 90s, early 90s. But
I think like if you didn't tell me it was the early 90s, it has such an 80s like vibe to that song. Yeah, and I feel like so many songs in the 80s had that kind of. So I'd be curious to see, you know, if it was just like a one-hit wonder for just the movie, or if they actually is like a band that we might know and don't realize.
Yeah, I don't know, but the song was catchy. I liked it, and it, like the nostalgia of road tripping. And it's so funny, that is road tripping. Like, it's really, really fun in the beginning, and then you hit this like weird patch. Like when they show them eat it like Checkers, they're eating it at every place, and then they're sucking down Pepto-Bismol, each of them, and then they look absolutely miserable for being in the car. So here's my question.
Okay. Because
where did they live before that? Like, where are they driving to? Because I think they end up in Washington State.
Yeah, it looks like it was a long drive.
Yeah.
But I have a bigger question. What does he do for a living?
Well, he worked at his dad's sports store.
Okay, but he's clearly not still doing that. So, because the things that they have in that house, first of all, the size of the house on the inside,
Great
and then
house.
the things that Junior
house.
has is ridiculous. Like he's loaded, and they don't really talk about his job at all. And not only that, I don't think he works in the whole movie. Does he go to work?
Doesn't. The only mention that I know, again, he has all the arcades, big TV. Yeah. He has the arcade ship bed,
which is okay. Dude. That right there. That's like the toy kind of like. So clearly he makes money, because I'm assuming not a lot of kids have that. That's like a unique gift. So when I saw that, I'm like, all right, what does he do for a living? And
he's
like loaded, but they don't talk about it at all.
Yeah, because his dad comes to live with them, because I think his dad was kind of falling on hard times. That's why he was, and we'll talk about the rewrite I would make of this movie to make it a little more sense than the actual, the way I really like this movie. I'm not going to say I don't, but there's like this part of the story that to me makes zero sense. But no, the fact that like Jack Warrior, Big Ben Healy, he's trying to sell franchises to a sporting goods store because he's like hard on cash. That's why he came to visit his son, because it seemed like it was a far drive. So why would he leave his sporting goods store? But I don't know if you remember when they're in the bank, which is in a few scenes, but it's like there's not too much to it. It's just the first time LaWanda lays her eyes on John Ritter was when he says, I would like to take a loan out. You know, I kind of want to go into business for myself. And because all the women are super horny for him, he's like the number one eligible bachelor. She gets like really close to him. Last mention of work for the rest of the movie. Yeah.
Okay. So, and I have a question about the driving part, but back to LaWanda. First of all, she doesn't look like a LaWanda. Like, it was such a weird name. Like,
I think that bizarre.
Very bizarre.
The fact that she is a Southern belle.
Yeah. Right.
In Washington. I think she was in I swear that was Washington, but yeah.
So what, maybe I missed it. Why did she want to get married so bad? What was she looking like?
Dude, great question. Because it makes me think of American Wedding. Why is there a rush? She's been married 7 times before, and we'll go into the little trials and tribulations that happen. And she still was like, I don't care. I'm getting married on Saturday. And in my head, I'm like, why?
Yeah, they're not explaining. Like, they don't explain why. Like, she's obviously super rich, but they're not explaining her reason. Okay, all right. So we'll get to that. So
that's part of my rewrite. Yeah.
So back to the drive. So first of all, I mean, the kid looks a little too old to be wearing matching clothes to the father.
When they show up,
it's ridiculous. I mean, and they do that in the drive, in the beginning of the movie, but throughout the movie, if they're not wearing the same outfits, they're wearing the same colors. Like there was John Ritter had a shirt that matched the clothes that Junior was wearing. It wasn't the same, but it was the same colors. Like, that seemed kind of weird. First of all,
very weird.
Very weird. Okay.
Very weird.
Then you have there's a scene of Junior driving the car.
Oh no!
Was that a dream?
We did the whole, no, I think that was real. But we see Ben sleeping, and then it pans over and Junior's driving. I'm like, holy shit!
Yeah, what is it's like there's a lot of stuff in this movie that is so bizarre that I just don't understand. Like, what are they doing? And like John Ritter, when he at one point decides to like run over street signs, and like it's just so weird. Like this movie, like, what is the plot of this movie? Like, what's the plot of this movie?
Oh, that's what I mean. There's no. I love the movie. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. There was so many funny parts to it, and I loved the characters in it. But no plot. It was really obviously the goal is for Ben to in his mind, it's I'm going to find Junior. I'm going to find you a mom. So you have a mom again. But really, he wants companionship, but he wants to do the dating part like that. But that's not a plot to the movie. There's really
no, it's not a plot. I feel like this movie was made as a sketch comedy. Like each scene is another sketch comedy scene, and it just, I don't know. It was like the scenes don't make sense. Like there's so many scenes that don't make sense. It was just like, let's just make another funny scene. Let's just try to make another gross scene and just make another. And like, it's a very weird movie. Like if you break it down, it's very weird.
No, it definitely is. No, Brian was saying like because the first one did well. And this one I think did pretty well too. They put the date out of when the next one was coming out before having a director or anything attached to it. So they got Brian because Brian had relationships with with Jack Warden because he worked on the show. He had a relationship with Junior, the actor's family, because he cast Junior's brother to play Fonzie's son on Happy Days, like in the 80s at the end. So, and he shot TV for years, so he could get it done in the 40 days they needed to shoot it. So that they needed to turn this movie around quick. So maybe that's why it does seem a little sketchy because there really, like, you're right. There really is no like plot to it.
No,
but we'll talk about how we fix that. Yeah.
And you know, one last thing. I looked up Junior because I was like, you know what, before we got the director, I'm like, you know what, let me see if I could try to get Junior. That'd be great. You know, he stopped acting. Like he only made like a couple of things after this and he was done. Like I'm so like for a kid to start his own movie twice and then stop acting. That's rare. Like so bizarre. And yeah, I was hoping to get him, but he hasn't done anything. I think he made like even the girl in this movie, the little girl who might be worse than Junior. Like as a child.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And she stopped acting. Like it was just, yeah. So
you know, she looked like Pee-wee's girlfriend as a kid.
She does. Yeah, she does.
And she sounded like her too, but she had that same like wide kind of face. But no, you're right. And he's good in these two movies. Like Junior's like, dude, he's kind of in the scenes. Obviously, like him and John Ritter have great chemistry. And the kid just crushes his line.
He has
Gilbert. The scene with him and Gilbert is like gold.
He has great comedic timing for a young kid. And then again, his lines are basically adult lines, so it makes it like. And the way he does it is very fun. Listen, I think the little girl was good. I think the faces that she kept making, like and she looked young, like she looked way younger than him, and she again. I think she might be way more evil than him. Between the both of them, they might have murdered about 10 people. So. Oh well, the
end scene, she should be in prison. Well, easily be in prison. But so when they show up at the house, it almost made me think of because it seems so far away, like the house, like. It seemed like he never seen it. Like when did he go out there on his own? Obviously, he took a flight, but. It was almost like he was kind of shocked at the whole neighborhood. Like the fact that when they pulled up, you're telling me like the real estate agent, who was probably a divorcee, like tipped off the entire neighborhood that the one woman was holding a cooler, like a big igloo red cooler, like holding it up in the air against her chest. They were like anticipating their arrival.
If there's such a thing as the divorcee, capital, state, whatever, or town, do you think they would wait outside like that? Like, are they waiting? Like, they literally waiting for him to get there? Like, because they swarmed it like flies on crap. The minute he walked in that house, they already had their pies made. They already had their baked goods made. Like, they were all set and lined up, ready to go.
That other guy, who you can do to get free pies? The guy next door, the sleazy guy. He could just be like, "Oh yeah, my single buddy's coming in town today." And then they would all get together, make their pies, and he would get a ton of free pies.
Now, is he part of the divorcee? Because
that's what I thought he was, but he wasn't because he goes, "Oh yeah, you got the what did he say?" Oh no, because he said, "Oh, I'm divorced," and he goes, "Oh, and you got stuck with a kid? Oh man." And he has his kid. He has his two daughters. Yeah, but we never saw his wife.
Yeah, you don't see his wife. So I mean, I think he's part. I think it would have been funny if he was online also. with a cake.
That'd have been awesome. That would have been really funny. But no, just the fact that they were like waiting for him.
Yeah.
And I should have took that clip. We have some fun clips. So if you're watching, you can see it. If you're listening, you'll be able to hear it. But when they, so they're playing football in this really cool house. I love that house. It reminds me of just like an old Victorian-ish house, the built-ins and everything.
It does, but if you look at the outside of the house, it does not match the inside of the house.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
The outside,
movies, yeah.
No, but the outside looks so small, and then when you go inside, these
It's a big
rooms
house,
are
yeah.
massive. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, just to fit his spaceship bed, it takes up a lot of space. But so you have the one blonde who is honestly like the one he goes on the date with, the most attractive out of all the housewives.
By far.
She's the first one. And she kind of reminds me of the wife from The Great Outdoors, John Candy's wife. She kind of looks like her, and she's been in a ton of stuff still, but not the same woman. But
right.
The way it's like the weirdest thing to even say. I don't even know how to word it, but it is like the most unsexiest. The way she sticks her finger in the cherry pie, and like wipes it on her. She doesn't even touch her lip. She like wipes it like on her cheek, and I rewound it and watched it 3 times. It was like, why couldn't they just do like she sticks it in and do like maybe she sucks it off or something? But no,
wait. You're telling me it was very unsexy, but you watched it 3 times.
Because I had to make sure that my eyes were seeing what my brain was thinking I was seeing. Because it just the way she like missed her lip completely and wiped it like on her cheek, like it was a booger. She just like wiped it.
You think she missed her mouth by accident?
Oh yeah, there's no way that was supposed to be in her mind. That was sexy.
Wait, how do you miss your? So that means when she's eating donuts, she just smashes it in her cheek.
Yeah, I think so. Bad depth perception.
So she's like friend of the podcast, Robert Hayes, who has a drinking problem.
Yes, exactly.
She has an eating problem.
She has an eating. That's a good bit. I don't know if that's been used in a movie. That'd be really funny. I have a real eating problem. Slamming a burger in their head. But no, just the fact that, again, I know, okay, I want to show this guy how sexy I am. But what if the guy's a germaphobe? You're out. This is Howie Mandel. You're done.
Oh, but he's not a germaphobe, and it clearly worked because that's the first date he goes on.
It does, yeah. There's a deleted scene. There were 7 minutes of deleted scene. I watched a few of them. One was, I guess, what set up their date, because we didn't really know they were going on a date until he just announced it. So there's one, she was outside the house stretching, like at night, like going for a jog. She's like doing the sexy stretching. And I know her, John Ritter sprints upstairs, sprints back downstairs in all workout gear, headband, and he runs out and stretches next to her on the.
So he's
a
creep in this movie, though. He's, I mean, he
opportunity,
is definitely
man.
A creep. Absolutely.
He's like, this is the opportunity. But so talk about the clothes. So did you notice the one woman what she was wearing?
I have to be honest. Like I was looking at their faces, and
yeah. Oh yeah, I know.
There's a reason why they're divorced.
Yes,
Yeesh.
There was a woman that was wearing a dress that had numbers on it. It said 1, like up here, 2 here, and like 3, like down there. And she was standing there. I'm like, why did wardrobe give her that, or did she choose to wear that? Is like she a teacher?
What if that was like her normal clothes, and now you're just like insulting her just based on her style?
I don't like it, lady. I can count. I can count. You think that's gonna woo? Oh, maybe she's gonna be like, oh, I can teach your son how to count. Oh, he's old. He can count.
All right.
He's old enough.
Well.
But should they use a better name for like a divorcee? They should use like a punny kind of name. Like it's Mortonville. Does that do anything?
Is that a real town? Mortonville?
Oh, I'm sure maybe somewhere. But no, just Mortonville, home of the Love Rock.
So what do you think? You know what? I didn't even realize that. So this is the divorce town, whatever. And there's the Love Rock there.
I know, that doesn't make sense.
No, I just didn't.
Oh wait, no, that does make sense.
It does make sense. I was just saying, like,
that's why people go there, and he
right.
had no idea.
I just put that together. I didn't realize that. So when you said that,
yeah.
Well, what kind of punny name would you think for a divorce town?
I don't know. I was trying to think of one when you were just because I knew you were going to ask me that. I don't know. I really don't know. I was really thinking they were about to have a Rip Torn moment or a Gil moment because I was like, more. And I said it like kind of slow, and I was like, more? Nah, nothing.
You know what? For a movie like this, they definitely should have had a punny kind of name because it would fit perfectly.
No, totally. And so we get the women, and obviously, what's his name? So, Junior's like, hey, Dad, we just got here. We're throwing football outside. And they must have food for weeks because that line was super long. Like, so then we get the neighbor comes over. Yeah.
What's the time frame of this movie? Like, from moving in to the end of the movie, because it feels like literally it's like a week.
Yeah, I think I would say it's maybe 2 weeks because I feel like he's with LaWanda for about a week, and they get married.
Really? It looked like LaWanda moved in, and like the next day looked like she's been living here for 5 years. So like that's weird. So and you only see the kid in school 3 times. So like I almost feel like it was a week. It was only like a week.
Yeah.
No,
it wasn't. Yeah, there was a deleted scene at the school, but yeah, no, it really wasn't. It wasn't as long as you would think for all these dates.
And even though we're not at the school yet, the big kid reminded me of Stingray from Cobra Kai.
Oh yeah, no, he's been in a bunch of stuff. That big, yeah, no, he definitely reminds me of that guy. No, he was in a bunch. He was like a '90s tropey, like bigger kid. I don't know what other movies he was in, but I definitely remember from this movie, like. But yeah, so right. So then we talked about him before with the sleazy neighbor who lives next door, the creepy twins who are like so frightening. They were in Camp Nowhere, and we just watched that like a few weeks ago. Like so creepy they are. Like they're asking him for money to be. Oh my god, you have to pay the toll to live in your neighborhood. And Junior's like, God, man. Again, Junior I know is evil, but some people just treat him like shit. So I kind of get it.
Wait a second. They don't treat him like crap until he does something ridiculous. So you're actually like siding with you, like you understand why he's Junior. No way.
He's misunderstood.
No, please. Listen, you know what? Based on the twins, the little girl, Junior, the kids in this movie are horrible. Like they're all horrible. The big kid in the class, like there isn't a good kid in this movie. Not one.
No.
They're evil. This is like Children of the Corn. Like this is like the prequel to Children of the Corn. And I feel like the next movie would be them, with Malachi and everything else in the.
But no, so then we get that guy, and he's telling about the divorcee capital, and he's like, "Hey, go! Oh no, you're right. No, there is a wife. We just never saw her. Because remember when he goes, "Hey Ben, go inside and get some of my barbecue sauce from the missus." And that's why he goes inside, and that's when Junior turns on the propane tanks that say danger, that you could read them from space. That's how big it says danger.
Oh my gosh.
And I love when the guy's dropping the match, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to get you, little fella." And then you're like, "Oh, what's going to happen to this guy?" And you're right. He'd be dead.
Okay. First of all, would you ever stick your hand and face in there? That's one thing. But I loved the fact that they show you from the bottom of the grill up, so you can see him reaching in there. And again, the fact that Junior is he knows what to do to cause harm everywhere he goes. Like he knows the exact, whatever. And was his intention to murder this guy? Because in real life, this guy would have been dead.
Oh, he's dead. You know what's funny? You just mentioned it. You know who he reminds me of? The way like he would, obviously this is a comedy, so he's not really killing people, but this is the stuff Chucky does. In like the first two Child Play, he does like little things to put people in these situations, or Leprechaun, like put them in their own situation, like their own trap, and then they basically do it to themselves in a way.
What came out first, Problem Child or Child's Play?
No, Child's Play,
because they both have red hair,
both same haircut,
and they do, and they kind of wear the same. Do they wear the same clothes? And I don't know.
No.
But I wonder if they they based it on Child's Play, because he could look like Chucky a little bit. Like that would be a great costume for him for Halloween.
Yeah, it would be. So then we cut to Junior has to go to school. He doesn't want to go. And this, like, again, these lines that are like adult-ish lines, like older than his age.
Okay.
The fact that he yells to his dad in the drop-off line, "I'd rather eat a turd."
Okay. All right. So 2 things right off the bat.
Yep.
One, John Ritter's that strong to take out the seat of the car, the full seat, and rip it out like the Hulk. Take it out of the
like
front
Hulk Hogan
seat.
did in Suburban Commando. That's what Hulk Hogan did.
So John Ritter could do that. But this is a brand new school in a new town. The kid's 10 years old. He's just going to send them in there, not going in with him, not going to bring him to the office, like not like schedule him, like just go ahead, go to the principal on your own, and like nothing. Parents are bad in this movie as well. Don't get me wrong, but like you don't take a kid to school the first day at a brand new school.
He's got women waiting by his door. He only got through like half that line. They're still waiting with pies and muffins.
Well, you know what? Throughout the movie, he definitely like hustles out of the house and leaves Junior alone all the time. So
I know.
Okay.
You don't need a babysitter. Oh, you got grandpa's here.
And you know how I feel about Gilbert Gottfried. Gilbert Gottfried. I'm not a fan of his. I know you love him, but so he played the principal in the first movie. Is that what it is?
No, this is what's even funnier. He ran the orphanage in Cold River. So I think that's what makes the joke even funnier, that he just ran the orphanage, and then so I obviously had to get a little clip of Gilbert, because man, so good. That's when he first sees Junior, and Junior,
Hey, P-Brain,
evil
what are you doing
smile.
here?
What am I doing here? What are you doing here? I belong here. You belong in Cold River. This is Markville. What are you doing here? You're not here. That's it. That's the only answer. You're not here. You're not here. I'm imagining you. You're a figment of my imagination.
Well, if I was a figment of your imagination, could I do this?
Oh. Whoa!
I can't take him.
Something crawl in here and die?
God, them two, their chemistry.
You disgusting, flatulating kid. Whoa! I just had a new paint job, too. Oh, this is horrible.
Is that the first disgusting moment?
Third.
No, that's a funny one. I mean, wait. Does a fart smell that fast? I literally, like, as soon as the sound went.
You have dogs, dude. You know when your dogs rip sometimes how quick it could stink.
Not that. I don't know. Look. I can't take him.
Oh man, it's so good.
And
then we get the whole.
I was gonna say the kid, like the fact that he's acting with adults, the adults talk to him on the same level as if he's another adult. Like that's how good this kid is, and very surprised that he stopped acting, because he's so young here and he was able to carry 2 movies. He could have done more.
Oh yeah, no, he could have definitely done. It's funny, if you look at the other movies he did at that time, he's just like kid in room. Like I think he was in Parenthood with Steve Martin. He was just like a random kid in the movie. But he's so good. I think not just him. He doesn't look like, these are guys like Gilbert Gottfried was a comedian for so long in a bunch of stuff at this point. So it's just so funny to see a kid seems like, yeah, whatever. Like no fear. John Ritter, a legend at this point.
Yeah, but Gilbert acts like a child. So that's a good, so between him and the kid, that's a good, mix.
But I love his reasoning to get rid of the kid, because the school only goes to 6th grade. So he basically just bumps this kid up to 6th grade. He's supposed to be a 3rd grader, just so he only has to see him for the rest of the year.
Well, based on the things the kid does, he should be in 12th grade. And when we get to the class, is that really 6th grade? Because they're doing 2 plus 2 in the classroom.
Well, they're doing 2 plus 2 for the what's his name?
I'm gonna call him Stingray. So just call him Stingray.
He had a name, like it wasn't like Ox, but it was like some kind of.
But okay, but still, like, yeah, I get. I mean, I don't know. And the teacher, I mean, Teen Wolf, he's got issues himself. Isn't he a Teen Wolf?
No,
Back to the Future. Back to the Future. Yeah, Back to the Future.
Yeah, no, but he's really funny in this too, because you're so used to seeing him, even in other movies you've seen him in when he's in the military. Like I feel like he plays a general. I feel like he's in Top Gun. He plays a general in Top Gun.
Yeah.
And you see him in all these movies, and to see him have this like compassion, silly side in this movie, it was pretty funny because I loved how excited he got when Junior was like, "It's 5, you moron," and then he's like, oh, "5." Oh, I'm gonna go get what he was like. I'm gonna get some workbooks for everyone to look at.
Yeah. Well, why was he excited about that answer?
I guess because people really answer, but what makes no sense is somebody answered a question before the fat kid didn't know 2 + 3. So I didn't really understand that, but maybe he just never gets participation. And since it's a new kid, maybe that was something that made him feel good. But dude, the next scene makes 0 sense. The fact that this fat kid is trying to get Junior, and Junior,
okay,
we see him grab the tape, okay, which is totally fine. Like if we would have cut to the next scene and we saw Junior, the guy just taped to the ground, fine, but he was taped to the wall sideways. No way.
How did he get him on the wall? How did he pick him up?
We could barely combine pick him up.
Okay. Let's just say, well, clearly, well, they're not related. I would say John Ritter could rip out a car seat, so maybe there's strength in the family. But let's just say Junior has ridiculous strength just to lift the kid up. How is he holding him in place and putting the tape on him? So let alone that he can't even pick him up to put him against the wall, but he was able to tape him up so well that he, that made no sense whatsoever. No sense.
I was like, what? How in the hell?
I like the fact that the Junior, this kid should be in 3rd grade or whatever. He had no fear of this big kid at all. He really has no fear of anybody. He talks back to every single person that's around.
He's good with it too. Yeah, his name was Murph. Actor was Eric Edwards.
He looks like a Murph.
Blade, Candyman, Little Rascals. He played Spanky's dad 2 years later than this movie came out. Oh, dude, you know what he's from? He's Doberman from Sergeant Bilko. He's great in that. That's
wow.
Good.
Okay.
He's good in that one. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, dude. He's doing the push-ups.
Spanky's dad?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, very, very. But yeah. Oh my God. So funny.
Oh my gosh.
God damn. The fact that he lifted him off. So then we talked about this a little bit earlier when we see Ben sign up for a bank account, like at the bank, whatever the name of the bank is. It's whatever her last name is, but we see Lorraine Newman show up, and nothing against Lorraine Newman, which she's funny. I think she's really funny. But the fact that they showed her as this like sex pot, like her intro, and we got like a booty shot at one point in the movie too.
A few times. Like
bizarre. Well, she's wearing red, and
they're making John Ritter this hunk. I don't think you don't picture John Ritter being a hunk. All these women were, even Lorraine, I get it. It's divorce capital, but I think it was more, they all kept saying, oh, what a hunk. Oh, he's so hot. That's John Ritter. He's not the hot guy. He's the funny guy.
You're like what you said earlier, they're a bunch of 5s. So they're looking at a 6 and they're like, oh, okay, all right, that's a hunk.
Wait, so you're saying John Ritter's a 6?
Yeah, I would say, maybe.
Yeah, but comedy makes you, fun,
Will you bump 2? A 2
you're a funny guy. You think Jamie's going for looks, or you think she's going for the comedy?
Oh, it's all looks.
Okay.
No, I just, maybe that's it.
I know.
Divorcee, I don't know. Maybe it's like if you're
but
hungry.
Seeing her as the sexy, throughout the whole movie it was first of all, I didn't know who it was at first. I'm like, she looks so familiar, and I couldn't figure it out. And then towards the end of the movie was something she did. I'm like, wait, that's Lorraine Newman. And listen, for Lorraine Newman, because again, she's not someone that I think of as like a sexy, she didn't look bad.
No, it was good. No, her role was totally fine, but just the
seeing her in that role.
Yeah. But to be honest, she was great. I think everyone in this movie, in their role, really knocked it out of the park. I don't think there's one character in this movie like, even the one guy who plays like the Russian ex-husband or divorced husband, separated husband, he has been in so much stuff. And like just random bits parts. He was in Tommy Boy. He played one of the executives on the board. And just randomly we see him in this movie, but everybody I think plays pretty good. So
that was a weird, yeah.
So how about the next part? Talking about how bad the kids are and how many people should be murdered in this movie. How about, so after this, after Lorraine Newman, sets her sights on Ben, falls in love. Then at school, he's feeling a little happy, Ben, because all the women are checking him out, and he runs up, high fives Junior, and then a satellite dish pushed by Murph falls off the roof and goes through Ben's head.
He goes through the satellite dish.
Yeah.
Like, again, another murder. Like, think about, another kid. So the kids, you're going to tell me they're not children of the corn? They literally try to murder all the adults in this movie.
Yeah. That's all they're trying to do.
They really are. And let's be honest. I don't know and you see this in movies all the time. You always have a hot nurse in all these schools. I know when I was in school, it was like an old lady. Like the nurse was always like an old lady that, old timey nurse. There's no way they look like this. And every high school movie is always a hot nurse.
No, I know. I can tell you a quick funny story. Can I tell? Oh yeah.
You had a hot nurse.
So when I went to Middlesex, we didn't have a hot nurse in school, but no, when I was in Middlesex County College, I remember we had to go do a physical, the old, cough. And you've done it this whole life. You got to do it. So I remember it was like going in, I was 19. I remember just being like hungover or something. And in my mind, I think the same thing. It's going to be some old guy or some old lady. I no joke. I remember it was like going into this room and the doctor, she was, oh my God, I don't even know how old she was. She was so beautiful. All I remember is in my head, I was like thinking of like Abe Vigoda. So nothing happened.
But did you say, can you check the other side too? After? Are you sure you check again? Check again. Just to make sure. I want to make sure. Just make sure.
But yeah, no, Amy Yasbeck, I love her. She's so good. Yeah. We just watched her in The Mask a few weeks back. She's so good in that movie. Yeah. But so weird that she's back in this movie. But maybe that was something that Brian did to get John Ritter hooked back in, or the studio did. Maybe they're like, hey, we get 4 months again on location, or 40 days or whatever. You can have your wife. You don't have to leave her. Or
yeah, but didn't we see that recently in another movie where it was a who was it? We saw this in another movie where it was a different
Munchie.
Oh no, but not. It was a different.
Andrew Stevens, same guy, different character in the movie.
No. But I'm saying a movie we watched recently where the same actor, but it was a different role in the second movie.
Oh well, Teen Wolf. What do you mean?
Oh no, what's his name?
Fracken.
Ron Howard's brother. Wasn't he in? He played like something recently.
Oh yeah. When we did Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Silent Night, Deadly Night. Right.
We had the same. Yeah, he played a different character, but then we had the woman that was the friend who was the main character in the fourth Silent Night. No mention of her craziness that happened like the Christmas.
So maybe that's something in the 80s. Maybe that's something in the 80s, early 90s that they just bring back the people and just
bring him back. Roles. Are we going to do something with him? No. It's going to be in the movie. We're going to make people think, 30 years later on a podcast, they're going to think.
Well, think about it this way. If you're watching this for the first time, I bet you're not putting two and two together. Like, especially as a kid.
Oh,
you're not thinking, yeah.
And just how different she looks in the first one. Her hair is up.
Yeah.
She doesn't have glasses. She's like very hoity-toity in the way she talks and everything. Then she's like down to earth because she has a problem child who we meet for the first time. And man, what a...
you know what though? Based on what she does and knows, because she knows karate, maybe these kids are super strong. They're able to tape someone against the wall. Because I mean, like the stuff that she does is ridiculous. If he's supposed to be like 10, she's got to be like 7. She's got to be younger.
I know.
She's tiny. So, but yeah, I mean, she's a nut. She's a nut.
Yeah, no, they're funny together.
They are funny together, but I think there's a part later on. The mom says that she stole a car or something, or a station wagon.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're talking about when they have like a who has the worst kid off in the car? Oh yeah, you're crazy. Maybe for this town, but Junior so and so, and now my daughter, and they're like, why are we arguing about this?
Yeah,
what a weird thing to argue about.
Yeah. All right.
My son's a better felon. No, my son's a better felon. But no, I lied.
So is this where Junior
Lorraine
tries
Newman,
to write?
I'm trying to think.
He draws on her face.
No, where they
this
meet. Is this where he draws on her face now?
Yeah, I think so, because this is where she goes, I would not do that if I were you.
Yeah,
Right?
what does she do to get him back? Because she turns the tables on him really quick. What the hell was that?
Well, she did karate on him.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah.
Like, tosses
that was the
him,
first
like-
interaction, right?
Well, no, the first interaction is when they were moving there. He does a slingshot into her balloon.
The balloon, yeah. And then the third time is in the bathroom, right?
Yes.
When he chases after her. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So then so Lorraine Newman, I mentioned earlier, she has like that whole friggin' book about everything about Ben Healy, the family, his height and weight, like Junior's criminal record, like everything.
Okay. Why would she have that book? Like she knew his height and weight.
Paul Wilson, her assistant, who's a great, speaking of Larry Hankin, he knew Larry knows him really well because they were doing improv in San Francisco in the late 60s, man. He's really good. And he's really good in this movie too. Like it looked like he was really playing violin at the end of the movie. Like that looked real, but he was funny in this movie, like being her like whipping boy.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know what would the height and weight, but she is just obsessed of getting married. Because at this point, she's a character that's probably 45 years old, right? 40, 45.
Yeah.
She's married 7 times.
Well, they probably only last like a year. Okay. So think about how many women must be in this town and very little men. Because if she's excited for John Ritter, who's just been there one day, where are the other men?
You know what? I would love to rewatch this movie and try to count other men because I don't remember seeing another man at the bank. Are there other men in this movie?
You know what? I'm trying to think. Even at the carnival, outside of the guy that ran the ride, I don't think there's other men. It's all kids. Like, I feel like this town, again, children of the corn. There's no adults around.
Yeah.
Like really no men. There can't be that many men there because she's infatuated with John Ritter after he's only been there a day. So if she's that excited to get married that quickly, you're going to tell me she didn't try with other men that are in the town. So yeah, that's weird.
She's obsessed. And then the next scene, speaking of like his criminal record, like obviously Ben with a dick move to go on. They've only been there like a few days, and he's going on a date with the blonde. And then we get the babysitter. Which, dude, that scene was probably, talking about gross, it went from her eating food like an animal, watching pigs on TV. What was that? She was eating like a pig, looking at a pig, I guess.
And not only that, I think the commentary on the pigs was pigs are always horny. The guy said that while they're watching the documentary.
That's great. That's great foreshadowing for a biker boyfriend that comes over.
So, but was she watching it because she gets turned on by pigs?
Hey, Tony, come over.
Was that pig porno?
Pig porn. Had the big old pee.
Okay. Pig porn.
But the fact that when he shows up and what Junior does.
Okay. So,
oh my God,
this is a kid's movie. I mean, and
what he does? Not even what he does with the filming.
Oh, before that. Okay, you're talking about calling
within what 10 minutes? He calls the ex-husband and says, "Hey, I just want to let you know your ex is on a date at so and so restaurant," and the guy shows up with a lead pipe
in his underwear. I think, I think it's.
I think he's in his underwear in a trench coat or just
first of all,
jacket.
Before he even gets there, so first of all, how does Junior know this guy's name?
Probably phone book. The lady, he probably knows the lady's last.
He knows the last name and first name.
I don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe he said, "I'm going on a date with Mrs. So and So."
Okay, you're gonna. So it's only one guy that has that last name.
Well, did you hear him speak? He's probably the only guy in that town that has that last name.
That is true. Okay.
Kovalchuk?
So when he calls him and you see this guy at his house, he had two things that stood out. He had the starter kit box, which it was a box that said starter kit. It didn't say starter kit for what. All it said was starter kit on there. And he had a can that was chowed down can.
Oh, foreshadowing.
But he didn't have any dogs there.
He's eating dog food.
So he was eating the can of which at the time I'm like, what is this can? It says chow down can. Doesn't explain what he's eating. And then the box behind him said starter kit. That's it. It was so weird. Of like, I guess they couldn't pay for product placement, so they just put like those two things out there. But yeah, so he was eating dog food.
Times are rough, but he had a lead pipe. Lead pipes got to be expensive. They're pretty heavy.
Yeah.
But he shows up. And
I'm sorry, it wasn't underwear. He was wearing a onesie underwear. It was a onesie.
What? Really?
Yeah,
he was like in the old timey.
It was an old timey kind of thing.
Oh
yeah.
My god.
Yeah.
Jesus, but yeah, when he shows up and he first he hits like the waiter or the maitre d', and then he hits Ben in the head right away, and then the fact that the girl. She's like, screaming, like, what are you doing here? And then Ben just protecting himself from like a deadly attack. And then she punches him in the face.
Yeah. And she defends their ex. That made no sense whatsoever.
Oh, did that not make sense? Or the fact that he drove them home while they were making out of the backseat of the car?
Okay. All right. Why? He went there to kill him. She punched him. And he's driving them home. You talk about like a slap in the face for a date. Like, people talk about worst first dates. How bad is your date that you go on a first date and you're driving back the girl you're on a date with and their ex as they're making out in your car?
Yeah, that's the worst date ever.
That is.
And then
awful.
You get home to a possible crime. Because if that girl, I'm sure she's over 18, the babysitter. Okay. But the fact that when they pull up, the cars are stopped. You have the sleazy neighbors bowling team sitting on the front lawn. Dude, I hope this girl is over 18. They should have made a joke to some kind of like just exposition, like, oh yeah, she's a sophomore in college. Something. It was kind of weird that all the people in the neighborhood were watching her get ready to have sex.
Wait. So the fact that we don't know if she's over 18. How about the fact that you had looked like a youth baseball team also watching this with their coach? So there's a youth baseball team watching with their coach. The
bowling team.
And did you hear any of the things that they were yelling?
No.
Okay. So one of them was, "Wow, I didn't know she would do that." Okay. And the other one is, "She isn't a real blonde."
Oh yeah, I wrote that. No, you're right. I did write that one. She's not a natural blonde.
As they're getting there, it's like, and it was like in the peanut gallery, like it was all the way in the background, so they were just blurting out these awesome. Like funny little things. Like
I love that.
And again, the fact that this kid is able to rig that up to do that is amazing. Like, yeah,
but that's a crime.
Okay, so at what point, being John Ritter, knowing what all the things that the kid's done in the first movie, and all the things he's been doing in this movie so far, and there's still like 45 minutes left. When do you say, like, all right, this kid's like the devil child? Like,
this kid's
at
broken.
What point do you give up on this kid? I mean, if you adopted one, you could adopt another one. Like, return him, get your money back, and get another kid.
You know what? I don't know what. I guess there has to be some sort of sense of I don't want to do that, but dude, this kid's causing really serious harm. In the first movie, within like 5 minutes of him being home, he lights the entire bedroom on fire.
Okay. Right. So things like that, like he's got, if this was a horror movie, like if Problem Child was a horror movie, this is like, we've seen it so many times. Like you have that evil child that does all these bad things, the good son. This is the good son, right? If it was a serious movie, it's a horror movie. Yet John Ritter kind of turned a blind eye throughout the whole time. And what makes me laugh is a point in the movie near the end where he goes, "You know what, Junior? I can't trust you anymore." Like he says that to the kid. It took him 20 things that Junior's done to him finally say, "You know what? I don't think I can trust you anymore."
Yeah.
Like the 19 other things that you did that I know for a fact that you did are okay. I can look, but now I just can't trust you.
Yeah. And I feel like the thing that he did last, it wasn't the worst thing that he did.
No, it
I don't
wasn't.
remember exactly what it was. It was like very minor compared to all the other
It was
things
something that he said something or did with the date or something. Yeah, it was very minor that he did. But so John Ritter's got to be at fault here too, because again, this kid has almost murdered how many people, burned down houses and all that stuff, and John Ritter keeps turning a blind eye.
Yeah.
So okay,
he just lets it keep coming back.
And I could see if it was his real son, but let's be honest. I mean, between this movie and the last movie, he's only known the kid for what, 2 years, maybe 3 years. Not even
that's
like.
I think that's even a lot. I don't know how long he's had.
Okay,
him.
right. So he's barely knows this kid.
Yeah,
you know, just return him, get your money back. That's all.
And then right after this, you have Big Ben Healy shows up because he's on hard times. He's living in the house, and again, they look so big inside the house. He's gonna shack up with Junior and like sleep on the top of his spaceship.
And Junior, now this is your grandfather who's older, and Junior almost kills him by, again, super strength, throwing him on the floor.
Well, first shoves a sock in his mouth to stop him from snoring, and then he just pulls the blanket down and he lands on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's got to take a lot of strength to do that to someone, and you know, Healy's not a small guy, so you know, yeah, he literally almost killed his grandfather. I do like I like the fact that the grandfather can't stand the kid though, like so that is pretty funny. Yeah,
always. Yeah, he hated him like right from the beginning.
He's such a great character actor though. Like you see him in so many things, and he's just so funny.
Yeah, Dirty Work as the grandpa.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So good. So no, you know what? We forgot another interaction between Junior and the girl. So remember when they're doing that assembly and Junior sees the girl? The prince Tolkien is the actor who plays the teacher. He's doing that assembly, that slideshow from like his
wait, this seems like the bathroom thing?
No, this isn't the bathroom yet.
Oh.
No, this is when he sees her and he goes, "Can I go to the bathroom?" And he chases her and she's hiding behind like a corner.
Oh my god!
And she pops out with a fire hose.
Wait, was it an M80? She had like was it an M80 or something? Or
no. The M80 is after this. This is just a fire hose that shoots him.
Okay, yeah.
Because then that's the first time we meet Amy. Well, the second time we see Amy Yasbeck earlier, but this is the first time like Junior like interacts with her. So
why did Junior take credit for that? Like, why didn't he? Because he said, he took blame for that.
Maybe like Game knows game. He respects her for like one-upping him because he never gets one-upped. Really, he never gets. He's like,
and you know what?
Tolkien at Home Alone. Like he could have been Home Alone 3.
Oh, easily. And yeah, I mean, this is totally a rip on like Home Alone. Like he definitely could have done it. And so far, she's one-upped him every single time.
Oh yeah,
like, he hasn't gotten her yet. Although, does he get her outside of the carnival? Does he get her at all? I think that's the only scene that he gets.
I know, but that's a good one to get her on. That's worth like 5 points. All the other ones are worth a point, but that one is like, woof.
All right,
he could have killed her. He could have killed many people.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. All right,
but yeah, no. Gross. So then, Big Ben, when he picks up Junior, see how he's doing. He's like all over, horny as hell. Hey, can I take you out? Can I take you out? And she's like, oh, I can't because I can't. It was like kind of weird. It was almost like she was married. Obviously, we know she has like her own problem child later in the movie, but at this point,
the way she says it though, it's like she's hiding like a big like she's a teen wolf or something. Like she was like hiding.
Oh my God.
The way she said it though, like she's like, oh, I can't. Yeah. There's like, I forget how she worded
she said,
it.
I can't because I can't. She couldn't even like give a reason.
It was something weird, and I think is this where John Ritter falls in the nurse's office?
He puts his hand on
a thing. I love that because that's typical John Ritter, and I'm glad because to me there wasn't enough John Ritter. Like I feel like again, I know it's a kids movie, I know it's about, but like I wanted to see more John Ritter be John Ritter, and like that was a scene that is totally what he does. You know, so great at pratfalls.
No, so good. So then how about the next scene, okay? The lemonade.
Oh, is this the lemonade? Oh, okay. So this is the start of the gross stuff. I mean, okay. I mean, first of all, the girls are creepy as usual, but he does. First of all, he does this outside. He literally did it in front of the car that the father was working on. And How much pee does this kid have? He filled up half a the pitcher.
That was a big pitcher too.
And obviously, we knew what was going to happen. Someone's going to drink it. You're going to tell me you don't smell it as it gets closer to your nose. You're not going to smell it.
Oh,
you will.
You have to smell it. But for the joke, I didn't like that I wanted like a Dumb and Dumber, like Harlan was.
Nothing.
I wanted him to like gag. He was just like, what did he say? Tart?
He said it was like tangy or something. Tart. Yeah, something.
Tangy. Yeah, he said tangy.
Yeah,
and Junior just started cackling like a hyena.
But I feel like it fell flat because there was no reaction from the father. Like he enjoyed it. So like there was like that was so weird. Like, yeah, 100%. There should have been like, that scene in Dumb and Dumber where either he threw up or did something. Like it would have been better if he threw up on top of the twins because he was trying to get the twins back. And so like that would have been a good, payback to the twins.
He never got them back in this movie, did he?
No. Unless they were on the ride or at the carnival, because bystanders were also getting puked on.
Oh,
so,
I know. And so the next date shows up.
Yeah.
Lots of questions about this. The fact this is obviously very like you said, he's like a little kid MacGyver. He's a little MacGyver. The fact that he could rig this all up really quick to set this whole thing up. But I think the thing that's even crazier is the fact that when she gets there, I understand it's a joke, but obviously women have done this in history.
I know what you're going to say. Okay. Yeah, but what she uses doesn't make sense.
2 little napkins.
2 little napkins that were not even curled up like in a ball. They were basically flat napkins. So what is it? Unless she's lactating. and she's just covering, because it made no sense that she's putting just regular napkins, not folding, like making it like, I would think that if you're going to use them, like women have done in the past, you put it in a ball to make it like push it out further. She didn't do that. And
is that a real thing? Hey, listeners, if you've ever dated someone or if you've done it yourself, ladies, at Sequels Only, let us know. The whole like napkin thing, is that like a one of those things
trope
that's shown in, like a trope only in movies? I never knew anybody that did that.
No, I bet you it's a younger, like I bet you like maybe like younger girls that are just, just probably do it like maybe middle school, just to try to look older or something like that. I don't know if adults would do that because they have the chicken cutlet things. The chicken cutlet things?
Yeah.
So, I mean, but the other question is, why is she doing it in front of his door?
I don't know.
Like,
Last second napkin grabbing.
Yeah, like, but isn't that something like, what if he had a doorbell, like a door ringer, like he could see, like,
this is 1991. They don't have that, but if he did have that, that would be kind of, no, that wasn't around yet. The guy invented it got invented on Shark Tank in like 4 years.
You're gonna tell me, someone, Hugh Hefner or someone didn't have a rich guy didn't have some kind of camera on the door.
maybe you have to.
And considering the money that John Ritter has, I think he could have it. But regardless, why is she doing it there? Like, isn't that part of your getting ready? You do it at home. You look in the mirror, like, you make sure everything's in place.
Eyeshadow, napkins. And boobs.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. So,
hey, honey, where's the napkins? We're out of napkins.
Why are we going through napkins so fast?
Just like a big paper mache ball, like in front.
But no, okay. So if this is a trope, wouldn't it make more sense then? I know the trope is that guys put socks, do the opposite. They put socks in there. Why wouldn't women put socks up there? Like a ball of socks would be better than tissues.
Yeah, but then it would look like you have giant nipples if you like put a sock up there.
No, it wouldn't. If you have a ball of a sock, it's going to look like it's going to push it out further. It's not going to make it look like a nipple. Why would it make it look like a nipple?
A ball of socks like this.
Yeah, right. And it's going to push the bra out. That's what they're trying to do. Make it look bigger. Make it look like a nipple.
Maybe.
What kind of socks are you wearing?
Big ones. But yeah, just the whole, I would love, again, at Sequels Only, if anybody has any inside information on that, we love to hear it. But no, the fact that oh my God, when she shows up to the door and I'm just like, dude.
Did you think she was going to get electric? Do you think that was going to like, I wasn't sure what he was doing. I mean, I knew he was doing something with the doorbell. I thought he was going to have some kind of like a voice or like telling her to go to, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. Electrocution was not on my list of what I thought he was going to do.
Not like that. The fact that her makeup looked like Elvira. Like with
she looked like the Bride of Frankenstein. Yeah, 100%. And the fact that she's stuttering now, she's like chattering like when she speaks, like she got electrocuted from like lightning, and her hair is all over the place. And it just, yeah.
And Ben's met her before, so obviously he met her before. But the fact that he's just like, okay, see ya, and she falls outside. Do you think in his mind he's like, oh, next on the list? He goes to like a list that he has. Number 3.
100%. But isn't he putting 2 and 2 together at this point? Like, isn't it bizarre that each date is ending up in a weird place? Like, they're ending very weird. He knows the kind of kid he has. He hasn't put 2 and 2 together yet.
Yeah, he doesn't want to believe it, I guess. Because he has to know. Like, this woman didn't look like this the last time he saw her.
Yeah, but maybe he feels that, you know, on a Saturday night, that's how she gets, you know, puts on her makeup, and that's how she goes out. You don't know.
Like, what's her name from Dream Warriors? Because that was like the look, like that punky look.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Now we get the M80. So the next scene is when they show up at the school, and this is when he's chasing the girl, and she's badass. She flips him off. And his next words are, "The bitch must die," when she goes into
How is this a kid's movie? I mean, again, that's an adult line. He's saying it to a child. He's saying it to a little girl. That's rough. Like, that's, oh my gosh.
But for as crafty as she is and the terrible things that she's done prior to this movie and then like in the movie, she falls for the old like, okay, I'm going to leave, the door closed trick. She's like, haha, what a loser. She jumps down. He grabs her. And then in seconds, she goes, you know what? I got this job. She's so little, right? Where was that M80 on her?
I know. And she has a few of them. But he's also walking around with a slingshot all the time. Where's he?
I know. Like, that is true.
And does he just have a pocket of rocks all the time? Because he has unlimited ammunition all the time. He's always ready.
He is always ready. But the fact that they had the M80, and you know what's funny? I thought they were in the girls' room because they were right. Okay, so just that the pipes were connected, and then when Tolkien sat on the other side.
Because remember when she ran in there, he stopped at first.
No, I do remember that, but I was trying to think of like when Tolkien is running with his like explosive diarrhea that he's about to have.
Why is he sweating all the time?
This movie, I don't know.
In the whole movie, he's dripping wet and his face is sweating all the time.
Is that an acting choice? The
diarrhea. Unless did I forget? Why does he have diarrhea? Like, did the kid do something?
I don't know why they showed that.
Because he's also wearing a diaper later, which makes no sense.
Well, he's wearing the diaper, I think, because he burnt himself from whatever. Maybe there was some because all the pressure from the water had hurt him.
You can't wear. Okay, the diaper he's wearing is like 3 times too big.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah.
And so he's wearing like an adult baby diaper that he's looked like a baby Huey kind of thing. Like, okay, so if he really burned himself, you can't wear pants over the diaper, get like Depends or something. Like he has to wear a baby diaper as he's teaching. He's in the classroom teaching with a diaper on.
Or the other option, like stay home. You have vacation days, I'm sure, sick days. You had hurt on the job. The teachers union would not let you keep working. You'd be sitting home collecting the check, man. A kid almost killed you.
This is another trope we see in movies all the time. Is that really what happens if you drop an M80 in the toilet bowl, is that what happens? Like one of the toilet bowls will explode. Like it's like a random, like only one. So it's like one of those, it's like Plinko. You drop the M80 in the toilet, and one of the toilets in the building, we don't know which one, it's going to blow up. So you're taking a chance if you go to the bathroom at the same time.
I would always think, like, wouldn't the wick just go out because it's wet?
Of course it would. And the size of that M80, I don't think would fit.
It wouldn't fit.
No, it would not fit.
It would just explode. Yeah.
It totally rock and roll high school? That's not what an M80 looks like either, right? That looked like a stick of dynamite from
like bigger than a stick of dynamite. That thing was huge.
Well, it wasn't as long as a dynamite, but it was definitely fatter than a dynamite.
Yeah.
That's totally a Wile E. Coyote kind of dynamite. So okay.
And then from here, it's like just craziness for the rest of the movie because Big Ben wants to fight Junior. He's like so crazy at this point because he hates the kid so much. Or again, he sort of has some kind of like right to it because of the stuff that that Junior does.
This kid threw him off the bed and stuffed a sock in his mouth.
I love that he runs at him and he does the old Olay and he flies out the window.
Again, another murder. So at this point, this is 4 murders now going on.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that they quickly get in a car. John Ritter can't find his dad. I thought he was going to run over him. They didn't show where he was. So I thought he was going to literally run over the car, like have a speed bump and have the car bounce right over the father.
But then at this point, this is the first time we see LaWanda show up, and she has like this giant fruit basket to be able to. She wants to give to Ben, and this is where Big Ben sees an opportunity. I don't know if at this point he knows who she is.
Yeah.
Really? Because obviously he wants her money because he's hard up on money.
How did he, Big Ben, know that she had so much money?
I guess later in the movie, there's probably something that was said that she owns the bank and she has a ton of money, or she mentioned it when they were in the house.
Okay.
But dude, the carnival scene. Next scene. Okay.
Do you have a clip of that?
I don't. I should have had that. That's one thing I should have clipped. But
okay.
The fact that Junior was just ticked off because the guy was a dick when he said he couldn't ride the ride. And he's like, oh, man, it's only a centimeter. He's like, get out of here. And then everybody's picking on him because he can't get on the ride. And then the little blonde somehow gets on the ride because she's wearing lifts that are huge.
Ridiculous. Yeah, she's wearing platform shoes that are so... But is the guy being a jerk? I mean, literally, there's a reason why there's a sign there.
Okay. No, but he does kind of snap at him a little bit.
No, he does. But my question is, though, this little girl, again, who's 6 or 7, is at this carnival by herself. We know these carnivals. You know when they come to your town, there's definitely a lot of shady people, running these rides and to hang out. And this little girl who's 7 is there by herself.
Not good.
Where are the parents?
I think that's still for the audience, even though at this point I think I already had a guess because I didn't see this movie in a long time. I watched a little bit before I talked to Brian, but I really feel did you know that it was already, because it wasn't revealed yet that this was the nurse's daughter?
I had a feeling. Just because, like I said, when she said, I can't date you, I just can't. In my mind, I'm thinking what is she, some kind of werewolf, like something weird? But then I'm it's quite obvious, yeah. So I still like Teen Wolf. That would have been good, but I had a feeling. It wasn't revealed yet, but I had a feeling. So, yeah. But yeah, why wasn't she there?
Well, that's why for us as the audience not to know yet. It wanted to be some reveal as later in the movie, but
I get it, but it still shows you that she's allowing her. I wonder why you have no control over your child. She literally has no control of the child. She goes, oh, she's doing this again. I got it. I can't date. I can't. So okay. But
she has teacher hours, so she's home at 3 or 3:30.
Oh, easily.
So yeah.
But the fact that Junior knows, first of all, I've never seen behind the scenes of these rides, but is that what the panel box?
No.
It's ridiculous.
It's probably a rat and cheese behind some of those old carny rides. They're not they're put together with old dental floss. But the fact that it looked so perfect, with the screen, it looked like it's brand new. But dude, the fact when
he knows what to do, and the fact not only knows what to do, but the fact that the ride has the capability to go that fast.
Yeah.
But
why would it have that capability? I have no idea. But the fact that when it starts going fast, and dude, the vomit was like, it looked like to me like milkshake, and it had like this weird consistency to it.
Well, it was a gray. It was thick like milkshake. It was like grayish color, but somehow every single person that threw up had the exact same vomit. It was all that same, like, you know, it's just, and I was not expecting vomit. Like I said, I didn't see this movie. I don't know what I was expecting. I don't know. And if I did, maybe like a little vomit. This was an absurd amount of vomit, because the fact that, okay, you're getting one being thrown up on, but everybody got hit in the face with the vomit. Everybody.
Yeah.
In their mouths, all over the place. I mean, the stingray was covered,
Yeah.
like he rolled around in mud. Like, it was so gross. Like, it really was gross.
I had a favorite. I don't know if you had a favorite in there. There was one of like parents with like a kid that was probably like 6 or 7, and they both started vomiting on the little kid.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what parent would, like, you're gonna tell me you can't turn your head?
I
Like,
know, or do the old.
I mean, like, yeah, I mean, like, you're gonna literally, like, if you have to throw, like, I just came back from a trip from Florida, and when I tell you that the other day I was talking to one of my friends about, planes and like throwing up or whatever. I haven't seen it in a long time, because years ago they would have these barf bags on the plane.
Yeah,
like,
they still have them.
Do they? But no one ever uses them. Like, I think back in the day, maybe they had more turbulence, so like people.
Yeah.
And would you know that the little girl behind me, threw up in the aisle right before we landed, like chunks all over the place. And like, I literally was just talking about this, and like, so like, and I went to my wife. I'm like, couldn't she just, like, her mom bring it to the bathroom? She's like, sometimes you can't get there that fast. Okay, so back to these parents that are puking on their child. They couldn't turn their head.
It's all it takes. Maybe they didn't want to. It was just so funny. It was just projectile on the head of this kid.
Everywhere, everybody was dripping with puke, and this scene went on for a good 8 minutes. Like, it was a long scene, and like,
Way
the fact
too
that you see the little girl on the ride, like, going dizzy the whole time, and then you keep seeing Stingray like getting more puke on him, and like, it was so foul. Like, it was gross. It really was.
Yeah. This is the first time that he does say, Ben, when he sees him, he puts 2 and 2 together for the first time, even though I think he kind of has it in the back of his head. He says, you know what? You really are a problem child. And this is like, whoa. And then, dude, this is the part when they get home, and LaWanda D'Amour, it's D'Amour Bank. That's what it was. And the friggin', dude, really, what would you think if you showed up at your house and everything was different? Like, honest, really.
How long was he away for?
They were gone for like 2 hours, 3 hours tops.
That the entire house was, yeah. I mean, but he was okay with it. Like, it was the rest of this movie for John Ritter is very bizarre.
Oh,
because,
totally bizarre, because the fact that even at the end that he got the girl that, did he really want her? It seemed like he wanted her, but then he was almost going to still marry this friggin' psycho woman anyway.
Yeah. But again, and that was my question early when we started talking. What's the time frame? So LaWanda fixes this house up in 2 hours, and literally, I feel like she's been there only 2 days, and it's like she's been there for a couple of years.
No, I know.
And John Ritter they're settled in. Like, he's acting like she's his wife already. Like, he's literally it was so, he doesn't even know this woman. Like, how much does he really know the woman that he's like, all right, let's get married?
Yeah, and are you okay with the fact that he had some cool shit in there, and I feel like she got rid of all the arcade games? I've never ever seen them again. And Junior's room is clowns again.
So that was from how does she know that he didn't like clowns?
I don't know. I was trying to think there was probably something they cut out of the movie. I guarantee the old man, Big Ben, said, oh yeah, this kid loves clowns, just to piss him off. But yeah, dude, the fact that everything was changed in the entire house, right away I'd be like, holy shit. But this is the story that should be the movie. The story of the movie should have been not her seeing Ben. it should have been Big Ben seeking her out to try to get her with his son because he needs the money.
Yeah, but he kind of was doing that.
No,
yeah, but
he kind of was after the fact, but Ben shouldn't have been into it at all. It should have been his dad was only pushing him like the wedding day, like, oh, you have to go back and marry her. But it wasn't
but he's a pushover. He's a pushover. So I mean, he was just going along with it. But yeah, I mean, but he was. I mean, the Big Ben was pushing for it because he kept saying the money and all that stuff. But again, like John Ritter barely knows this woman, and he's already that was so rushed. Like that didn't make sense. By the way,
maybe it's her booty. Maybe it's her booty when she's dust busting. That's what it was. Dust busting.
Or he already went on how many dates already? Maybe she's the last woman left.
Could you imagine that?
Because we haven't seen the other ones. I mean, none of them the other worked, so maybe she's the last one. He's like, all right, listen, I don't have a choice. So, but you know the mailbox number, the house number is
it 69?
No, it's 911.
Oh, really? That's pretty funny.
So are we at the dog part?
Oh, dude, the dog in the rest of the movie and the random commercial in this movie, I think are some of the funniest things. When he hypnotizes the dogs and he just says, like, you'll bite her butt entirely off. And then the dog's a statue. He's like, what's his name? My neighbor when I was a kid, who was the Bud Light dog in the 80s? Forget his name.
Spuds McKenzie.
But he had he had a statue of that dog, like my neighbor did, a big, heavy plastic one. And his dog hated it. And I'll never forget that. So seeing this dog, a statue. They basically made a statue of this dog.
Well, they made, but the fact that like, so Junior, first of all, again, not the direction I thought. I thought the dog was actually going to bite the,
me too.
And then the fact that, and so the dog is frozen. And then when Junior realizes it, he picks him up and just tosses the dog in the grass. He threw the dog away.
Well, let's not forget, he did throw him away, but he looked like he threw him really far away. But the fact that the dog sort of seemed like it randomly appeared, because Big Ben was looking around for the dog, and then I know the dog was in the bushes, and it almost looked like it moved. Like the way he saw it, it looked like it appeared, because it was like 5 feet away from him, in between two pots. Like, not hidden,
Yeah. So
but God, the fact that she's cooking a special dinner, and I love that she changed everything in his room, every single thing in his room, except his cockroach motel.
And how many cockroaches?
Oh, I know. There's no
because they're huge. First of all, they're huge. So like, how many are gonna fit in there? Yeah. Again, another disgusting scene. Like, really?
Did our buddy Steven Kutcher? I should have looked at it. See if Steven worked on this one. I don't know if he did, but so many bugs, too many bugs.
Oh, and just the way he does it, like the way, like you're not seeing. First of all, you see the little tomato move. Oh,
I know. I'm bouncing back and forth.
Yeah, but it was like rolling though. I was like, what? Like that? I don't know. That didn't make sense. But the fact that she's eating, and then like. She doesn't feel that huge bug on her face. Like she literally had a massive bug on her face, and just so gross. It really was.
He ruined the whole meal, and I love that. Not only it's in the salad, which there's a lot of them on the table just in the salad, but then when she looks over and all the food's covered in it, I'm like, dude, how many cockroaches do they have in this motel? Is that is that how people keep them? Just like thrown into basically.
Do people actually have cockroach motels?
I don't know. I've never seen anything
except
like
for
that.
maybe our bug friend, the bug wrangler might have.
Yeah.
But or the fact that John Ritter had how many on his back later on.
Oh yeah.
I mean that they're still like it just so like I really I feel like this movie is like a bunch of like Mad TV skits. Each scene is because, like, again, the cockroaches on his back weren't moving at all. It was like a jacket that had cockroaches, glued to the back of his jacket. And that's what because they weren't moving. It was just so silly. It was like, Although I gotta tell you, I do like Lorraine Newman's interaction with the kid because she sees right through him. And,
dude.
like,
because she does the whole like, oh, let me talk to him, like mother. Sometimes the mother, and she just goes right into threatening to send him to boarding school. And
yeah. Okay.
But this is where we find out that the Trixie's mom is the nurse, because at the school they're sitting there and they're doing like this play on democracy, and then I know where you hear like people getting beat up, and you're like, what's happening? Then the puppets come back up and you hear like sex sounds.
Did you not think it was Junior? Like I totally
thought it was Junior.
I was not thinking the little girl at all.
Yeah.
At all.
But she quickly hogtied 3 students. Like, I don't know where she learns this. I don't know who her dad was. Maybe her dad was like a wrangler or
listen. She knows karate. She could hogtie. I mean, she's badass. Like, she's really ridiculous. I would like see. They should have made a third one with her.
Yeah,
I would. To me, like again, I think she was like for a young like little actress. I think she did a great job. Because she had to be younger than Junior, and just her facial expressions of like evil are just so good.
Yeah, and then this is where he kind of felt bad. John Ritter felt bad a little bit because Junior was like, "Hey, Dad, I saved you a seat," and he was like, "Oh man!"
But Junior, like he had a smirk on his face, like he knew. Like I wonder if he knew what was going, like, or he was just like happy that it. I don't know, like he was like that his father got embarrassed. Like he was like almost laughing at his father for after it showing like, "Ha, it wasn't me. You look like a fool." Kind of thing.
Yeah. Every other time, Dad, it's me doing these terrible things. This one time, it's this girl. But no. So after this part, this was crazy because he goes, because even when Junior's trying to talk to her, they're talking about like, because even Ben utters the phrase, "She be perfect." Like Nurse Annie be perfect for me. But then, you know what? I'm okay. I'm going to marry LaWanda like the next, like in less than a week, because the wedding's on a Saturday. So they keep saying it's Saturday. So we don't know if it's like a Thursday to a Saturday or whatever it is. But it's like, it makes no sense that happened.
No, it doesn't. But also knowing that she's a terror, that she has a daughter for a terror, you think that's a perfect relationship, bringing another problem child into the family? Like I would think you'd want to stay. I don't care, how much you like this woman. The fact that you already have basically Damien as a child, that you're gonna want to bring a second one in. I think that's crazy.
No, I know, but that would have been. You're right. For a third movie, it'd be cool if they got them all together. Like get them out. At a resort,
they're married, and now you see them like
cruise,
in cahoots,
like a cruise somewhere on the like out. And just like wreaking havoc. That could have been pretty good.
Just them two, like together, because they definitely do a good. They're very good together.
Yeah. So then the next scene is really so funny because again, this is like a sketch. When somebody called animal control. I guess they were looking for the dog. That's why they called. But then we get a random chow down commercial when animal control shows up, and I have to ask you, what was next to the dog? Was that a giant turd?
Yes, that's multiple turds because the same one that had at the end of the movie. it was the biggest turd. Like I can understand maybe if like a Saint Bernard did that, but this dog is like the size of like the dog from The Mask. A tiny little, like Jack Russell. That turd was massive. Like again, so silly. Like it makes no sense. Like it doesn't make sense at all. But it just again thrown in there just for laughs. Like, and these two guys that come there, the one guy squeezing the other guy's like butt or like rubbing his shoulders. It was such a random thing to like just throw out there, like because it's not addressed the rest of the movie at all. Like nothing like that. It was just like a small little thing, like just so weird. Like it's just like all these scenes. It's a skit. It's like such a sketch comedy movie is really what it is.
I love every time that you're like, man, this is like so crazy or so weird. And then the next scene somehow ups that because Junior overhears the rabid dog's blood tests. He steals it. He sends it to a lab somehow within like minutes. Somehow it attaches to LaWanda's name. She's having her 8th bridal shower. Like the nerve of her inviting the same people the 8th time to get more presents. And somebody gets her like negligee. It's kind of weird to do that because it's been 8 times of this. This is the 8th one. But I love the scientist who's been in a bunch of stuff, character actor, like little roles.
Yeah,
but the fact that he's looking at it and then we see a cartoon on the microscope and he goes, "Get animal control on the phone now."
But why would you call animal control if this is a woman that had the rabies, right? Was rabies?
You're right, rabies. Yeah.
So why is it called animal control?
That is true. Why did we get the same guy showing up at the bachelor party with the? I feel like they had the rope thing, right? I feel like they had the net. No, they had the note. They had the net thing with the yeah. And she's eating a powdered donut, so she's like they think she's foaming she looks
from the
rabid.
mouth.
Yeah.
And they're trying to catch her with the net.
So good.
But she thinks they're strippers.
Yeah.
So she thought that the dog catch, like if you're going to hire a stripper, the dog catcher is going to be like the costume of choice.
I know. Could you imagine? Like that'd be fun. Yeah. The most maybe she's into dog catchers.
Okay.
She's a dated dog catcher in college, so they're like, "Ooh, let's go back to those days, little Wanda."
Okay. Is there such thing as a dog catcher? Like,
yeah,
there is. So there's a car that like a truck that goes around towns with a net that looks like it's for fishing, and
the collar and the collar thing to snap. Yeah,
no. But they have the net thing. He didn't have a collar thing.
No, he didn't have the collar thing. But no, I think they have that. They definitely have it in major cities. I've never seen it.
Okay. I don't think they have a dog. I don't think there's a dog catcher that drives around catching stray dogs. First of all, how many stray dogs are around? Never.
It's true.
Okay. There's no dog catcher. There's no such thing as a dog catcher.
Last time I mentioned Larry Hankin, he played the dog catcher in Annie. In the original Annie.
And every dog catcher in every movie, and Tom and Jerry, there's always a dog catcher, you know, they all look the same. They all dress the same kind of like van. And again, the stick with the net on it, that's going to pick up the dogs.
Yeah. My dog said break it. 125 pound pit
so
bulls.
Dumb.
It ripped that thing up. But no, I know. Right. But just the fact that from here, she gets taken to the hospital. They have her like tied down because they're like, they saw her blood. They're like, oh my God, it's rabies. She looks insane, and this is Friday. Okay. So she still wants to get married tomorrow.
Okay. Before you get there. So I don't know much about rabies, but if someone does get rabies, are they that much of a threat that you have to tie them down, strap them in with belts and like, so they can't move? Like, did they become like a zombie? Like they can't run? Because clearly they're afraid that she's going to attack? Like,
yeah, well, I guess because rabies, it does something like your central nervous system. So maybe she could start like flailing because that's what dogs do. Or like if you have like a raccoon gets rabies or something, they get a little. I
don't think you start attacking people.
If
anyone's ever had rabies before, please let us know.
Yeah, at sequels only. We need to know. So your homework, you gotta make sure if you put napkin in boobs or you knew somebody that put napkins in boobs, and if you have rabies, or know somebody that got rabies, if you have both, maybe we'll have to send you a sticker or something.
And if you know a dog catcher.
I
need to know if a dog catcher
or if you are a dog catcher. So if you're a dog catcher who's gotten rabies and also you put napkins in your boobs, you're a guy or gal. That's equals only. Let us know.
You win.
You win something. But no, so she's tied up, and this is the funniest random throw in ever, right?
It makes. I mean, okay. Do you think it's anyone ever asking for this surgery?
Yeah.
You think people are asking for a bigger nose?
I would think for a record, there's the cat person that did surgeries to make themselves look like cats, or somebody that wants like Michael Jackson.
Wait. So you think there's someone out there saying, you know what? I want to have the biggest nose in the world surgery, which you're going to be stuck with. So you think someone actually wants to have the biggest nose? And they get surgery for it? You really think there's people out there that get kind of a reverse nose job? Would that be considered like a reverse nose job?
Yeah, I think it would be. But now I think that's just to the point of having a record to get a big nose. How about the wife? The wife's reaction to that whole scene? She was pissed off about the whole thing. She looked like, but why are you doing this? He looked so excited.
Okay, but I need to go back to this for a second because it's beyond getting, having a big nose. You're talking about the biggest nose. So
ever. The
surgeon. If you're a surgeon and you're giving someone the biggest nose, it's a reverse nose job, first of all, and I don't know. I can't imagine someone really doing it.
All I know is insurance would not cover it. So when we mention what happens when the dollar amount she mentions, so we'll get to okay. Again, because he's so smart, he switches the charts, which happens so many times in movies. Doctors, I guess before computers, it was very easy to get somebody murdered in a hospital just by changing a chart from one room to the next. All of those things would happen because we've seen it so many times.
You've seen it so many times, but dude, the doctor's not. I mean, that's not the only thing that has their name on it or double check. Like they just, okay, whatever this says, we're going to do. We're not going to, check anything. If it says amputate the leg, we're going to amputate the leg. It doesn't make a difference. Okay. And she just happened to be sleeping, that they took her in for this surgery. She wakes up and she looks like the Wicked Witch of the West. It's like, that's how big this nose is. This was Roxanne big.
Oh yeah, dude.
It was Roxanne big.
But it's so funny, the fact that the next scene. First, before we get to I guess we could sort of mention, just like close this part out. But, so at the wedding, just real quick.
Okay.
Just to mention this part.
Okay.
No. So we'll talk about it afterwards. So the pizza place, what was the name of it? It had a really terrible name, like Pizzarita or Pizzaroni or something ridiculous.
But even this scene got gross. Like,
you're talking about the pizza that looked like slime?
I was gonna say, when she's peeling it off her face, it's like literally like slime. Like, you know what? Now that you mentioned it, the fact that it had such a weird name for a pizzeria, they got slime in the pizza. Like that, It was so gross, and the aim that everybody had was incredible because every throw landed on someone's face.
Now, did you think Gilbert Gottfried was at the same place? Because it was a dive pizza bar when we saw Junior walk in, and then that was the whole setup to make it so he knew that, the nurse and Trixie were going to be there. And then we show this other shot. We see this place. It's so divey. And then what did they do? Like, I hope that real bar in real life doesn't have one heart-shaped booth. So there's a heart-shaped booth that Gilbert and some smoke show woman were sitting in.
Okay. I think, first of all, there's no way Gilbert is having a woman like that next to him. Okay, that's first of all. But where the heart-shaped booth totally reminded me of those places in Pennsylvania that have the champagne.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's such a cheesy yes.
Heart-shaped
I didn't think it was
jacuzzi,
the same.
heart-shaped bed.
That's what it totally reminded me of. But I wonder, in movies when they do something like this, is it such a free for all? They really say, hey, you know what, we're gonna have a food fight, and everybody's in, and what they film everything, every and whatever lands, though, that's what they're keeping. But they really have these deep food fights because it was massive. It was all over the place.
I love when Ben stands up and he's gets ready for it, and then throws that over. But it all starts with the kids and the meatballs thrown in the girls' boobs.
Well, this is the start of the kids starting to like each other. Right?
Yeah.
I think, right? Is it? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because when they leave, that's what's crazy. They have a great night. They're kind of in each other, and he's like, oh, do you want me to help you with something? He says, oh, we'll help you with something. And she's like, oh, but don't you have a big date tomorrow? Or they're going to go for ice cream, maybe?
Why did they go out to dinner in the first place? Was it a date?
No, it wasn't a date. No. It was a setup.
That's what I'm saying. So
it was
why
setup,
why? Oh, that's right. They happen to be there. Okay. All right. You're right. Okay.
Yeah, because Ben was even like, why would you want to go to this place? He's like, oh, Dad, I heard it's the best pizza around. I'm in the mood for pizza. Then they just happen to be there. I don't know how Junior knew she was going to be there because Trixie didn't really want to talk to she was like, "What are you doing here?" Because she was like totally like against it at first. Like you said,
okay.
She's kind of like they're like kind of in. They even make a truce, and they're all for the parents dating.
Right. Okay.
And then they even get together because they want to have a plan. So he calls her when they get home. She shows up, and then they go to the Love Rock.
Okay.
To
so
wish
how close?
on the Love Rock.
Okay. How close is this girl? Again, is 7 years old. It has to be at least midnight.
Yeah.
She's walking to his house, which she's never been to before. You know, which she somehow knows how to get there. Who knows how far they live from each other?
Well, they are close because they made that. That was just before they got to the house that he shot out her balloon and she fell down in the opening scene of the movie.
Oh,
so it's pretty close. I don't know, like how I wouldn't want my daughter walking even 2 blocks that late at night. But I know I did. I probably at 10, 11. Well, I know she's at 7.
Okay.
But
okay. All right. So, but then they walk to the rock.
Yeah, they go to like sort of like pray to the Love Rock because they want to be able to get everything together. But that's the point of it because they wanted to bring them together. So they were both ran away.
Right.
Obviously, again, Ben. Oh no, that's the line that Ben said because Ben was like, "Oh, do you want me to help you get her home?" And she was like, "Oh no, it's okay. I'm sure you have a lot going on, you know, with the wedding and everything." And I'm like, so weird, right? But they did get together at that point. And this is where, you know, Junior, even though the Love Rock worked, his whole plan was, you know what, as soon as he sees her face, and then remember at the wedding, the hideous tuxes they're wearing. But he goes, Dad, why don't you go see Lawanda? And he's like, oh, don't you know it's bad luck? So then, of course, he has to think of a way to do it. And he somehow sets up this rope thing. Nobody sees the.
No one's watching him at all. He's literally doing it in the middle of the aisle. Like no one sees. And I do like the fact that she's walking and you don't see her face. Like she's like, all you see is the back of her. So no one expected that. Yeah.
But when she falls and she gets up and looks at him and it's perfect. And she's like, she gets so close to him. She's like, this $356,000 for next day, no surgery. And I'm like, oh my God, 300, just get married next week.
Yeah,
at this point, she's spite marrying just to piss the kid off.
The fact that she talks to him like, I won. You try to get me and I beat you. You know, that was awesome.
Yeah.
However,
unbelievable.
Somehow this little girl could drive a truck.
She has a friggin' truck, like a cat, like a dump truck, and she's carrying the Love Rock, which I'm guessing it's close to that park. I would guess so. But we get this very Indiana Jones-ish scene, the way she drops this Love Rock, and I just had to play this clip because just the way it ends is like, to me, unbelievable.
Look at this.
The just seeing this rock go down, and dude, this obviously this thing's made out of like plastic or something, but there's some.
But think about how many people could have been murdered. How
Yeah.
many people could have been murdered by this rock?
And who's cheering? Junior and Trixie are like cheering like this is the greatest thing ever. Look at him. He's doing like double arms up like his team just scored a touchdown to win the Super Bowl. And I love the priest jumping into the water.
Wait, was that really a jump though? What was that? Like he's diving into like a 2-foot fountain.
Yeah. I looked at the credits. I watched the credits for a second, and the priest's name was like Buffalo Bill something. Like a random name. But what does she do? She goes, you know what? I'm rich. I'm white. I'm going to tell this thing to stop right here.
Yeah, what did she think? Okay, this made no sense either. What did she think was going to happen? She's talking to a rock? She's literally talking to a rock. Like she's trying to use a force? That looks like she's trying to use a force.
Yeah, well, you know what? It did not work at all. Because it ran her over. Her force is done.
Based on this movie, I'm surprised like they didn't make her look like flat into the ground because the rock ran over her. And like,
I know they did the other option of let's just have the ground pressed. So she's so strong. Is she made of metal that her body
it pushed her.
Nothing happened to it. The ground got hurt.
Yeah,
that's what happened in this.
I'm trying to think of what movie was that. There was that someone got ran over, and he became. Oh no, was it Fish Called Wanda? No, was it Fish Called Wanda? One of those that he got ran like no, it wasn't Fish Called Wanda. It was they basically flattened them out. Maybe it was like the Naked Gun or something. Might have been Naked Gun, I think.
Roger Rabbit. He gets flattened down and then he blows himself back up.
Oh, I don't know. But yeah, I could have seen like this happening in this movie.
Yeah, but this is the part.
And then
like,
we see
after this. Yeah,
dog poop. We see dog poop again.
Yeah, I know.
There was a mount the same, and it's a massive just like it's just a gag. Like it's such a silly gag, like to have it.
But it worked. Okay. And then this is where they run over. You have the nurses there yelling at her daughter, like, "How could you do this?" Because again, her daughter should be in juvie after this. She almost murdered many people, and somehow this woman, Lawanda, is like for some reason okay. But they're talking.
But by the way, no one. They saw the rock rolling over her. No one went over to her and helped her.
I know. Only Paul Wilson. Again, she's the richest person in town. She runs the bank. Her family runs the bank. Everybody
no one was
whatever.
concerned. Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, even Ben, he ran to Junior. He wanted to get Junior out of the way. So then they're talking, and Big Ben's like, "Man, you got to get over there. You got to get her out. You got to marry her." And he's like, "Dad, I don't want to marry her." And he's like, "I want to be with Nurse Amy." And he like puts his arm around her. And then this is the part. This is like, again, I kind of mentioned earlier, but the reason the movie didn't make sense that much at this point, it does make sense because he's the one who wanted to be with her the whole time because he needs the money. And then he's like, "You know what? I'm going to go try." Him and Paul Wilson get her up, and he says, "I love you." And she's like, "Oh, did you just say you love me?" And they make out. I'm like, what the?
Oh, okay. That was gross. But yeah, is she like, so is she desperate? Like,
that's what I don't understand.
They don't explain why she wants to get married. Because, fine, John Ritter's the new hunk single guy that come in there, but grandpa, like, and she's excited about that too. Like, it's just so weird. It doesn't make sense.
I forgot to mention, do you remember the photo of her ex-husbands that are in her office? They're all John Ritter.
Oh, yeah.
Different hair, different outfits and stuff. That was pretty funny.
Again, that's not a gag, like a sight gag. Like this movie is such a sketch comedy. It's really like each scene is just silly. It's like silly.
And that's it. That's the end of the movie. Him and the nurse, like, they didn't even kiss, I don't think. I think he just like pulls her in close, and then they just do the great end of the movie. Very TV-ish. Maybe because Brian directed it. They did the walk away. Yep. Credits are rolling. Music's playing. And so Problem Child 2, James, this is so cool when we do this. And it happens to be like a first watch. So would you recommend somebody watch this movie?
Okay, so it's not as bad as Pink Panther 2. I'm looking at this movie for the audience. It is. So, is it an adult movie? No. Like if you don't have any children and you want, I don't think it's an adult movie. I don't think you're going to like it. It's silly. It's gross. Is it a kid's movie? I don't know. It's fine line, but however, I think that it's hard to say. Like if you watch the first one, definitely watch the second one. If you've never seen this one, I would just, well, then you're going to be going back to the second one anyway. I would say watch the first one, but then you're going to watch the second one. I would say if you haven't watched them, don't watch this at all. But if you've seen the first one, then watch this one. That's how I'm going to say it.
All right. You seem like you enjoyed it. I'm shocked.
No. I did not enjoy it. But again, it's a kid's movie, right? So I have to look at it.
No groans. I heard you didn't like the vomiting. It was gross.
No, I just don't understand. I don't know the audience it's for. I don't think it's a kid's movie because you have, again, sex scenes and innuendos and not cursing, but calling a little girl a bitch and, gross. Like it's not a kid's movie, but yet it's not an adult movie. Like if you're watching this with your, like, maybe, like middle school kid, fine. But it's geared towards younger kids, I think. And so, like, I don't know who the audience is. That's the thing.
I say you got to watch this movie. I think seeing a kid it's very rare in movies over, like, really, maybe Scott Schwartz, like in The Toy, how good he was interacting with, like, again, a legend, Richard Pryor. I think of John Ritter in that same light. As a comedic actor, how great he was over the years. And this kid is just so good. They're just so good together. And even seeing him like with Gilbert and the way he interacts with like Lorraine Newman and Jack Warden, I think just watching his performance, not knowing like what audience is for, he's just so good. It's kind of, and like, even like you said, Trixie is so good in this movie too. Yeah. I like it.
Does he turn it up compared to the first movie? Like, how does he compare as? I mean, I know he does a lot of. I'm talking about just like his timing and everything. Like, how is he?
Oh, he's good. I think
movie?
he's just a natural. I think he's just a natural. The first movie wasn't even that long before this. A year before they probably got done filming it. It was like a quick turnaround.
Did he do anything before this, or was like the first one like his first thing? So like, I find that amazing. Like to be that young to own your own movie. It's not like, it's one thing if you were like a side thing in a movie and like, all right, acting's not for me, but like he was the star of a movie and a sequel, and to leave acting so quickly, that's very bizarre. And I mean, clearly like acting wasn't for him, but man, I it's funny. I wonder if his parents were upset about that, because clearly he could have been money. I mean, he was so young when he started, or maybe
they're just like over it. Yeah, it could have been that. So how about this? Here's his credits. You're right. The first one was his first movie. Then he was on the series. He was on Amen. He was on a character called Max on one episode of Amen. There was a Beach Boys song called Problem Child that he was in the video. He was on Munsters Today. Then he was on Problem Child 2. This is all 90, 91. Then he was in Drexel's Class. Oh, the redheaded teen in Forrest Gump, Random Person, Platypus Man. Oh, and he plays Russian teen in Eraser in 1996, uncredited, and that's it.
So he had basically a 6-year, and then again, but in that 6 years, he had like bit parts after starring in his movie. Like, I
think that's the whole talking with child actors over the years of doing this podcast.
But it's
that hard transition.
It is, but you don't see that too often.
Oh no!
And again, he started it being a side. Like, I can understand. Even the girl though, like she really didn't do much either. And this could have been her big break, and I'm surprised. But who knows? Yeah.
No, but so Problem Child 2, that was fun. So remember a few things before I mention the next movie that we're going to be covering. If you're a dog
catcher who stuffs their bra, stuff your bra with tissue, and have ever had rabies before, let us know.
At Sequels Only. And then Larry Hankins' book, That Guy. I'll have that in the episode notes, and I'll make sure to put it on our website, sequelsonly.com. So the next movie we're going to be covering, we're going to be a week late when it comes to the actual subject of the movie. I'm talking, we're finally covering a Leprechaun movie. So obviously St. Patrick's Day is next.
I've never seen one.
Wow. So we're starting with Leprechaun Returns, a direct sequel to the original movie, which I think is pretty neat. And I got the chance to interview the Leprechaun himself, actor Linden Porco. Man, Linden was so cool. Starting as a child actor, grew up in Canada. He got into acting. He was 5 or 6 years old. And then he had some great stories because he was in the movie Little Man. So he had some cool stories about working with the Wayans Brothers. And man, it's so many cool stories over the years, because for him to play this big role, he needed to be able to nail the voice, because he did the voice of Leprechaun. But he went from being like a body extra in Cult of Chucky a year before to landing this role in 2018, which is so big for him. And then from there, man, he's been crushing it. A Babysitter's Guide to Monster Hunting. If you haven't seen that, it's a Netflix movie. Great if you have a kid. My daughter loved it. I thought it was so cool. He was just in Nightmare Alley. Had some stories about working on that movie, and Guillermo del Toro, and watching the way everybody worked on set. And he's super young still, because he started doing this all when he was a kid. So he's in his mid-20s, and things are growing good for him. So that's what's going to be next week. And then after that, the week after, you'll be hungover after all your green beer. And then on that Thursday, you can listen to us, Leprechaun Returns. We'll talk about that direct sequel. Pretty excited for it, because I watched a little bit of it. He nails some of the voices. I think it's shot really cool. So I'm pretty excited for it. So So don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast. Follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. And don't forget to check out our website, sequelsonly.com. Good night.
Good night.